All right, let's start off with a little survey this morning. Anybody had a good week? Raise your hand. Oh, sweet. Your hand went up fast. Great week. There's a difference between good and great, okay? Not everybody had a great week. Anybody had any struggles this week? Yes. So we talked about this a little bit last week. We started this series, Facing Goliath, and the reality of we're going to have them. It's just a reality. My house is falling apart, just to let you know. Like, heat pump went out. I ran over something with the lawnmower. It's going to cost me more to fix the thing than I paid for. Yesterday, we blew a plumbing something down in the crawl space. I don't know any of that mess. I just know it's not good. There's going to be issues. There's going to be struggles. Sometimes things just don't go right. I don't know about y'all, but it makes me mad. I start pulling my hair out. My wife said, you're increasing the bald spot. You don't need any help with that. And the other thing I've noticed is most of the time in my life, it's easier for me to see the bad things than it is the good things. It's easier for me to focus when things are going bad. I remember my lawnmower being broke when I went to mow last week. I don't remember 5 years of the thing running every time I got on it and started it. I didn't throw a party when it started, but I'll get mad and kick stuff when it don't. We see the bad stuff. We forget the good stuff. And it was really easy for the army of Israel to look across the ravine and see the army of the Philistines. And that army's over there saying, let's go. We're ready. We're going to take over. And the army of God, the army of the Israelites on this side of the ravine looking back saying, well, we might be ready until Goliath steps in the middle. And he comes out and he begins to chant. We talked about this last week. Your Goliath may look totally different than mine. And the reality is Israel had all kinds of problems on the other side of the ravine, but there was the one obvious problem that stepped out. We got issues, we got struggles, we all have some kind of thing, but sometimes there's that one that you just can't ignore. And yours may be different than mine. I'm sure it is, but it doesn't make it any less of a struggle. Now, I want us to grab a hold of a couple things this morning before we dig into the meat. And the first one is really easy. You don't have to go looking for Goliath. You don't have to go looking for problems. They're going to be around. You don't have to go. If we look into our text, 1 Samuel chapter 17, we went to verse 10 or 11 last week, but as we pick it back up, what we see is David now, he's too young to actually be in the army, but three of his older brothers have joined the army with Saul, and they have gone on to battle with the Philistines. Now, because he was too young, David's staying at home, he's taking care of the sheep, and then he'll run out to the battlefield, check on his brothers, come back, report to his dad, all of that stuff. But the one thing that it's really easy to pick up on is David don't go to the front line looking for a problem. He don't go to the front line looking for Goliath. He don't go to the front line looking for an argument with his older brother. He just bringing some lump. It's almost like he's DoorDash. His dad, in verse 12, when we start, in the second half of our text here, his dad basically says, hey, here, take this food and check on your brothers. Here's some more, little higher grade food for the field commanders. He's sweetening it up for his brothers. So it's like, take the boss a Christmas present kind of deal. And then bring me back a report. So we can pick up in verse 17, Jesse told his son David, take this out there. David got up early in the morning. In verse 20, he left the flock with someone to keep it. He loaded up and he set out as Jesse had charged him. When he arrived at the perimeter of the camp, the army was marching out to battle. He didn't go looking, but while he's there, I think it's verse 23. While he's there, Goliath shows up. You don't have to go looking for problems. You're going to have some. We're all human. And the fact that you're here today, and especially if you're trying to live a follower's life, you're drawing attention to yourself. So Satan is going to look for you. You don't have to go looking for him. And David comes up on the scene. He drops his food off with this field manager guy. And then the first thing, it's like, here comes Goliath. We're in the thick of it. We're not looking at. Here's the other thing that we sometimes miss. I think it's verse 16. Goliath comes out every day. You know, David didn't go out and look for him, but Goliath is not going away. Actually, verse 16 just says, every day he comes out. I don't know how many of y'all have tried this. I've tried this several times. If you got a problem, just don't pay attention to it. Anybody else try that one? Well, how's that work out for you? Same way it worked out for me. And don't go away. You can sweep it under the rug. You just got a lumpy rug. You can put it in the closet. It's still going to be in there when you go get your jacket. It does not go away. Goliath, your problems aren't just going to disappear. There's no easy button. And I mean, one of the things that really gets me going is if I hear a preacher talk about, you know, take your Jesus pill every morning and you'll be well. Put your money in the Jesus bank and you'll be wealthy. That whole health, that's Jesus never promised that. He can make you get through the problems. But he never said, hey, if you follow me, everything's going to be. Actually, he said the exact opposite. In this world, you will have problems. There's going to be Goliaths in your life. They're not going to go away. You're going to have to deal with them. You're going to have to struggle with them. You're going to have to be in the battle. Now, if we read this text, the one thing that we see is the entire Israelite army, even King Saul, they're terrified. That was one of the last verses we read. They're hiding in fear. They're avoiding the problem. They're not. Now, Goliath did not go looking for it, but he's shocked that nobody else wants to face it. Why ain't somebody doing something? Why ain't somebody going out there and quieting this big guy down? Why isn't somebody standing up for God? We hear that all the time in the church world. Why don't somebody do this? Y'all probably thought that. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands because I'm about to step on your toes. Somebody don't attend church at Papa Rich. There ain't nobody named somebody. So David owned his Goliath. That's a problem. Nobody else going to face the problem. I'm going to face the problem. I'm going to deal with the issue. I'm an Israelite. I'm a follower of God. He's defying God's people. He's talking to me. I'm going to own that. I think people who own their issues are great people because it's hard to do. It's easier to hide from them. It's easier to run from them. It's easier to ignore them. They're just standing up and say, hey, he's calling God's people out. I'm one of God's people. Nobody else going to take care of this. He's the least likely. You know why he's delivering cheese? Because he's too young to be in the army. He's too little. Some scholars believe he's about 13 years old right now. So this 13-year-old boy is going to go face this 9-foot giant mercenary because nobody else will. nobody else can fix your issues, and you can't run from them. And when you decide to face them, there's going to be some people in your life who don't like the idea that you're going to make some changes. So here we go. 1 Samuel chapter 17. We're going to dig in. So we got the context here. The troops told him about this offer. Now this offer, David is asking, hey, what happens for the guy who goes out and beats this dude up and gets him to be quiet? So they tell him, hey, you're going to live tax-free. Your entire family is not going to have to pay taxes anymore. So your father's house will be free in Israel. That's a big deal. And you're going to get the king's daughter as your wife. Yeah, another big deal. Word on the street, she was pretty. But you're also going to be a part of the royal family. That comes with a whole nother set of perks. I mean, this is the lottery. So his brothers overhear him asking the question in verse 28. David's oldest brother, Eliab, he listened and he spoke to the men. Eliab became angry with David. David's just asking some questions. And Eliab gets irritated. Now, here's one of the reasons why Eliab gets irritated. You may, if you've done a little context reading around this storyline, you may have noticed in the previous chapter, Eliab and the other brothers were called into the living room of the family house. And the old prophet Samuel, he comes with his horn full of oil, and they're going to anoint a new king over all of Israel because King Saul has decided he didn't want to follow God. Eliab was passed over. No, he's not the one. And then the other brothers were passed over too. And Samuel said, do you not have any other boys? Because I came here to anoint a king. And we got one more. It's this little squirrely dude. He's out taking care of the sheep. And go get him. So Eliab previously has watched his baby brother be anointed king over him. Now, I don't know about y'all. I'm an oldest brother. And when my little brother would show me up, I usually would get really mad and I'd have to beat him up. Now he's bigger than me, so I don't do that anymore. But most of us aren't going to be like to be shown up by baby brother. And Eliab was. But I think more than anything else, what frustrated him is Eliab, he looked at little baby brother and he's like, dude, you ain't got no business being here, let alone there. So he asked this question, why did you come down here? What are you doing here? And you're supposed to be taking care of the sheep. Who's taking care of those few sheep out in the wilderness? That's your role. You got no business here. Here's the thing that David's brothers, they do. He's rejected. They try to send him home. I know your heart is the next conversation. I know your motives. They question why he's there, his motives, his ability. What are you even doing? And I bring this up, and I think this is important for us, because if you begin to get serious about your faith, there's going to be people in your life who don't like the changes that you're going to make. If you begin to get, now it's really not a big deal for you just to come to church. Let's be honest. I mean, we give you 3 options. If you're a morning person, you can come at 9. If we got people come third service and they're late for third service at 11:30, and we don't get mad at them. We don't ask for extra offering when they come in late. Any of that. We don't make it complicated. As a matter of fact, you can pretty much sleep in and still make it to church semi-on time. Right? It's not that we don't require you to dress up. I mean, when I first started here at Papa Ridge, I did children's church. When they hired me from birth to marriage. And I had to do children's church in a suit. Like I'm down there doing the Father Abraham thing in the jacket and the necktie. No lie. I bought it from Goodwill, but I was still doing it. We don't require that. You don't have to get dressed up. You can just come and love the Lord the way you are. We make it pretty easy. So this really isn't that big of a deal. You're really not going to wrinkle anybody's world if you're like, yeah, I go to church 1 hour a week. But start making real changes. Start digging into the Word of God and actually doing what it says. Start loving your neighbor as yourself. Start investing in the kingdom work on your own. People are going to notice that. Now you start messing, some people aren't going to like it. You start fixing you, some of your friends are not going to want you to be fixed. And some of them are going to have the same reaction that David does. His oldest brother, the one who should be standing up for him, David, you're not going out there, I'll take care of this, I'm your big brother. He's the one that's making the accusations. What are you doing here? You shouldn't even be here. Don't start messing. I know your motives. You just come down here to watch the fight. You just come down to see the spectacle. David, you need to go home. The world would tell you this, and some really good people in your life would probably tell you this too. It's okay if you go to church. I want you to go to church. Just don't get too serious about it. My Jesus said this: take up your cross, deny yourself, and follow him daily. Seek first the kingdom of God. Jesus dictates a letter to the Apostle John in the book of Revelations, and he says, you are neither hot nor cold, but because you are lukewarm, you make me want to spit you out of my mouth. In other words, you make me want to vomit. I heard this quote at a National Youth Workers Convention several years ago. The greatest attribute to atheism in the world today is Christians. Now, at first, that just like hits you in the face, doesn't it? The greatest thing that adds value to atheism, the greatest attribute, the greatest thing that boisters their voice of an atheist is Christians who proclaim Jesus with their mouth but deny him with their actions. It's those who hear Goliath on the field but aren't willing to go face him. It's those who have problems in our lives, but we sweep them under the rug. We don't make the change. We don't even fight the battle. When you decide to fight the battle, Eliab is going to show up. So here's what we have to do. We have to choose wisely. We have to choose wisely who we're given access to. See, this isn't just us. In Mark chapter 3, Jesus' family comes. Jesus' popularity is picked up. He's begun to really draw in a crowd. So Mary and the brothers, they show up. Anybody know why they show up? They come to get him. Anybody know why they show up? They believe what? Come on. Nobody. The Bible actually says they believed he had lost his mind when he got serious about his mission. There's going to be people, when you get serious about your faith, you begin to clean up those Goliaths in your life who think you have lost your mind. It's okay. Choose wisely who you surround yourself with. Paul writes to the church at Corinth, and he says this, do not be unequally what? Yoked 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14. Do not be unequally yoked. I use this in weddings, and some of our former ministers probably use this. It's not talking about a wedding. It's okay that we use it, but it doesn't say do not be unequally yoked in your marriage. It says do not be unequally yoked. Period. Period. Just like Genesis, we do the same thing with Genesis. God looked down on man. He said it's not good for man to be alone, right? So he created Eve. So we just tap that into marriages too. He doesn't say it's not good for man to be alone in a marriage. It's not good for man. It's just not good for man to be alone. We were created to be in relationships. We were created to be in relationships, but we were created to be in the right relationships. When Paul writes to the church, do not be unequally yoked, that also means your business partners. That also means your gym partner who's spotting you on the bench press. It does mean your spouse. But we have to be careful about who we're giving keys to the house to. How many of us got locks on your doors? Raise your hands. All right, everybody got, okay, some of y'all don't have locks on your doors. I'm going to be needing the address. I got some boys. I need a new lawnmower. All right, so, hey, at my house, we have locks on the door. We don't lock them very often, but we do occasionally. You come to my house, and you can come in, right? Matt can come to my house. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to let him in the house. Matt, you feel confident in that? I'm going to let you in. There's some of y'all don't even have to knock. You know, there's some of y'all can just come on in. You don't have to knock. Just walk right on in. Surprise, surprise, there's Brad. But you don't have a key, do you? We got to be careful who we're giving keys to. Who you trust, who you're giving access to in your life. Because not everybody who's nice to you is your friend. Mike Tyson said that. Not everybody who's nice to you wants what's godly for you. We can't be unequally yoked. David finds himself facing Goliath, and the people who should be supporting, encouraging, and lifting him up are the ones who are tearing him down. And a lot of us are living this life. We got to be careful who we're giving access to. Here's my challenge for today. I'm going to make it real simple. There's 3 of them. You need somebody in your life that's pouring into you. You need somebody in your life that you're walking with, and you need somebody in your life that you're pouring into. I have people in my life that have poured into me, okay? Here's what I want you to do. Everybody take out your phone if you got one. If you ain't got one, sorry. Take out your phone. Here's what I want you to do. This week, this is the challenge. In that phone, you got somebody. You got a contact, Brian. You got a contact in that phone that's been pouring into you, that loves you, that would go on the battlefield with you. You need to send them a message and say thank you. You can do that right now if you want to. Because Goliath, we need support when we go face him. I need somebody pouring into me. I need somebody that loves me, that encourages me, that is taking care of me. Now, you got people that you're walking with. I had lunch with a friend of mine Friday. We went and ate Mexican. He's a warrior that is fighting a battle with me. We're standing shoulder to shoulder. We even talked about this when we were having lunch. We don't really talk about the fact that we're fighting the same fights, but we're standing shoulder to shoulder in a battle. You need to call and say, hey, thanks for having my 6. Thanks for going to war with me. Thanks for fighting the battles with me. Thanks for praying for me. Thanks for asking how I'm doing. You need those 2 people in your life. You also need somebody that you're pouring into. I got a group in my phone. It's called My Boys. And I send random, inconsistent, because y'all know me. I'm like, that baby puppy Labrador retriever. I'm chasing a squirrel, and then the red ball comes over here. So I'm not good at this. I'm not intentional. I'm not consistent. But occasionally, I just send this group of boys some random message. And it amazes me. You know, I send this picture of a squirrel on a skateboard, and one of them will message me back saying, oh, I needed that so much today. It amazes me what God can do with the awful mess that I am. But I need to be pouring into somebody. Your glass gets filled, and you fill a glass. You need to know who those people are. You need at least 3 of them. In Jesus' world, that was James, John, and Peter. If Jesus had 3, I probably need 3 too. Send them a message and encourage them. Keep the faith. You can do that right now. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to close out with this one proclamation. In the midst of the battle with my Goliath, I'm going to trust God. I can't do it all. I'm going to trust him. When I fall short, he's going to pick me up. And in the midst of that struggle with the people in my life who aren't going to understand that I'm trying to clean up the mess, I'm going to trust God. When Eliab steps up and says, brother, what are you doing? I know God's got me. Nobody else believes I can. God can. So this morning we're going to close with this song. It's a proclamation. We're going to run over. Third service is going to start coming in, and we're just going to, if we're running over, we're just going to keep singing. They can join us. But this proclamation, I'm going to trust God. When everything else falls apart, I'm going to trust God. Let's stand and sing together this morning.